You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Hi, welcome to the Subway ad for the new Sesame Ginger Glazed Chicken Signature Wrap. How would you like it?
I'll take a...
Sports announcer at home?
Yeah, how'd you...
We just know.
My wife picks up the new Signature Wrap. It's got double the rotisserie-style chicken mixed with a sesame ginger glaze. She appears annoyed at me, but she shrugs it off. Those sweet and savory flavors are calling her name. She lifts the wrap and she takes the bite! Incredible! And now she's closing the door on my... Subway, make it what you want.
Limited time only at participating restaurants. Double meat based on average 6-inch sub.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Thoughts of suicide may feel impossible to overcome, but with help and support, you can find hope and meaning. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK to speak to a counselor, or visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org. It's free, it's confidential, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And even if it feels like it, you're not alone.
Up. The Longhorns win it. Did he drive him 95 yards? Well, he had a lot of help from some different people, but A&M just went 95 yards to make it a 17-0 ball game.
Hey, or as Laura Lee would say, hey, y'all, we're live, Aggie.
Hi, Lou.
Hi, Aggie.
I'm here.
Yeah, so am I.
Good.
I'm not real sure how, but we're here. Oh, there we are. My Spreaker app is going crazy, you guys. So, I mean, anybody who listens to shows I produce know that I can't produce a single show without some kind of hitch in it.
It's a trademark now.
Right. This show, we got it out of the way in the beginning, and yay. Hitch-free show the rest of the show. Hope everybody's doing good tonight. Merry Christmas, almost. Yeah, we're here. Yay. How you doing, Aggie?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Yeah, I had margaritas today, so I'm doing pretty good. Yeah. That was hours ago, though. It has nothing to do with the hitch in the show. Swear. Promise. Pinky swear. Yeah, and we have an action-packed show tonight, do we not?
I think so.
Yeah. Mostly about alcohol, probably because I had margaritas today.
It's always a good topic. Let's face it, people love booze.
Yeah, and we're good at talking about booze. We're really good at talking about booze.
I think we're honing it to a science.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And we may hear from Ruby tonight because she's been wanting to get on air since we cranked this thing up. Yeah, so we might talk about a little bit of basketball. We'll see. So let's get started. You first, Aggie.
Well, today I wanted to talk about something special that happened just this month. We just celebrated the 60th anniversary of the Evergleam aluminum Christmas tree. And
isn't that climate aware and responsible of us?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's really cool because growing up in Puerto Rico, we don't have pine trees there. So all of the Christmas trees were usually fake.
Right.
And the very, very popular ones were those aluminum tinsel-like Christmas trees. I remember one of the neighbors down the street from my grandmother's had one, and she would put red and blue and green and gold balls all over the tree and multicolored lights, and we would just stare at that thing transfixed because it was just so beautiful.
So shiny.
Yes, it was all shiny. All you could see was just this bright light being reflected from every single shard of aluminum on that tree. It was great.
Yeah, well, being from myself from a bauxite mining town, that was one of the big industries where in the area where I grew up was bauxite mining. And anybody that knows anything about bauxite knows that it's a core component of aluminum. So I would like to thank the aluminum tree for the economy in my hometown.
Yes, I should, because that is it was a great contribution.
Yeah, it's just things like this come up, and we realize all the little things that we owe our opportunities to. Aluminum trees are one of them.
Yes, and it's really funny because nowadays, everybody is worried about destroying the planet and plastic and this and that and the other thing, and I see these tinsel trees in stores going for, I'm not kidding, thousands of dollars because people want that vintage look again. They want to recapture what they had in their youth, and I find it funny because it's, it's obviously you're kind of torn because you cut down a tree that you can then turn to mulch and you won't kill the planet, but you're killing the tree. Or do you go with the fake because, it'll last you a lot longer and, then later on you can do something else with it or.
Well, there's...
The aluminum tree was, to me, the be-all and end-all Christmas trees.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool because Christmas is so much about what we experienced in our childhood.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's really cool that you have that kind of affinity for an aluminum tree. It never even occurred to me that there were people in the world that would have that level of affinity for an aluminum tree. So,
it's incredible. I have one, and mine is small, and I just happened to run across it at a little, like a thrift store that I. Let's face it, I frequent thrift stores almost every day. But
I've heard that.
And they just wanted like $5, and I thought, well, this takes me back, and I can decorate it with vintage tree plastic ornaments to make it really vintagey for the dining area. And So it sits there and it's really pretty and everything. And then I was very surprised to hear that these things are going for thousands of dollars because they're in high demand now.
Yeah,
I was like,
do they still make them, or are they you have to get them all kind of from thrift?
they do make them, but they make them with something different type of like a mylar, some kind of plastic that they make it with. But
Right.
the true aluminum tree, they don't make any.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's pretty sad. But I, as far as I know, they don't make them. I haven't seen it.
Well, now that they're kind of in style, though, someone will some entrepreneur will jump on that and start making them probably out of recycled aluminum, and it'll all be good. But that's really cool. So the aluminum Christmas tree is 60 years old.
60 years old, yeah. Older than me, thank God.
Well, it's funny. I was thinking the same thing. I'm always happy when there's something in the world that's older than I am.
It's so great.
Yeah. And speaking of old, and anniversaries and things that come around every year, college sports is one of those things. And and the basketball season is starting off as weird as football. So, and you and I have talked, and you and Laura Lee, we've all talked about how kind of weird a football season it was. Things were kind of strange. Not everything happened. Like Georgia got beat by South Carolina. Yeah, it's the SEC, and you can always expect, some upsets and stuff like that. Alabama got beat by Auburn. But it was just a weird year. That wasn't the only thing. There were the Southern Conference had some weirdness in it, and every conference had weirdness in it. And the basketball season is starting out just as weird. That I think all of the top teams in the country have been beat at least once. So everybody's gotten beat at least once. Carolina's lost, I think, 3 games at this point. We're like 6 or 7 games into the season. And they started the season 3 or 4. They've lost that many games. So,
wow.
Yeah. So, all the news, like you just Google NCAA basketball, and the top 4 news stories is about it's wide open, what is even going to happen and what's going on. So, that's some weirdness, and we're not going to dwell on it too much, but it's going to be an interesting basketball season, and Lord knows what the tournament's going to look like, because when you have a season like this, that you'll end up with a national champion, Gonzaga, or which is, they have solid basketball teams, but they're not like a power school. Or an SEC would be really funny as an SEC team to win the college national championship, the basketball national championship, because we're just not we're not a basketball conference, or so something crazy things will happen in the tournament, and the first week, the first round, everybody's brackets will be hosed. So we have that to look forward to. So it's going to be an interesting basketball season, as interesting as the football season.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm kind of rooting for like a Final Four that has, places like UTSA, our local college here, and, some godforsaken team out of Wisconsin, and little known in Oregon, just unknowns or something. Complete Cinderella Final Four.
And that is the beauty of basketball, and that's one reason that I like college basketball, is because you can end up with that at that kind of Final Four, where it won't be all 4 teams, but 2 of the teams can be like, who is that even, right? Like they're a third the size of UNC, and their budget is 1/10 of Duke basketball, right? So really, it's really kind of fun that way. So something to look forward to there. And bowls are coming up. So
Oh yeah.
yeah. So you know, here in
I don't know
Atlanta.
how we managed it, but Aggies are going to a bowl.
Yeah, well, we get the Sugar Bowl. You know, that's the consolation bowl for the SEC. That whoever doesn't win the SEC title, from the title game. So Georgia's going to the Sugar Bowl, but the game to watch is the Chick-fil-A Bowl. And kind of a side note on this is that I'm waiting for, and the funny thing about the Chick-fil-A Bowl is it's the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And every time I hear it, I think, you know, peaches probably really would be good with Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A with a side of peaches. That sounds good.
That does sound really
Yeah,
good.
or peach ice cream for dessert, right? Homemade peach ice cream, because that's totally a Georgia thing. But I'm waiting for, you know, half the country to boycott that bowl because it's a Chick-fil-A bowl. Yeah. So that's number 1 and number 4, LSU and Oklahoma. And then Ohio State and Clemson, of course, are playing in the Fiesta Bowl, which I thought was a Taco Bell Fiesta Bowl, which was really fitting, but now it's the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, which isn't it isn't as fitting because it's just not. So, but
Wasn't it like, was it Taco Bell or Tostitos that used to have it?
Oh, it might have been Tostitos, but either one, it was fitting.
It fit. It was
right, because it sounded like, I mean, it made you want to go out and get Taco Bell, or, you know, run to Barbaritos or something like that and get some good Mexican food, like I had today. Change the topic. So I went to my favorite Mexican place today, and they have this specialty margarita that I've never seen anywhere. I've never seen anybody do a guava margarita.
That's because you haven't met me.
Right. Okay, so Aggie makes them, and Callie and Tito's in Athens, which is totally an Athens thing. Don't look for it in your town because you probably don't have it. But it is the coolest place. I sent you guys pictures of it, and is that not cool? It is. Yeah, it's the most unique place. They have, you know, palm trees and palms and all these tropical fake greens and sand and lights strung everywhere on the inside, and it's so much fun.
I love that in Atlanta.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, and it's Athens, so of course they have bands in there at night, right? But that's the best margarita I've ever had, is the guava margarita. And I thought, you know, at first I thought guava and tequila, I don't know, but oh yeah,
I'm sure. I have substituted a little bit of the sour mix for guava nectar, and it's really good.
Yeah, now this was total, and so it didn't have it. You know, it was tequila and triple sec and guava juice. It was like the sour or lime, or however, if you make it with fresh lime or you make it with and it wasn't sweet. It wasn't sweetened with anything extra. Just straight up guava. It was really great. So, and this place does things like that. I mean, the food is so fresh, and everything is fresh prepped, right? Nothing comes out of a jar or a can or anything like that. It's all fresh prepped food. So, it was fantastic. But certainly something that you can make at home. Since we're talking about this, we can go ahead and segue into our cocktails, even though usually we wait for a little bit later. Let's talk about them now. So it's certainly something that you can make at home. It's tequila, triple sec. If there's anything else that you put in your margaritas that, you know, I'm not thinking of, some people use... what do you use? Do you use a triple sec or?
It depends if my mom is here. If my mom is here, it's only lime juice, triple sec, and tequila. That's
Right.
all she likes. If I'm doing it, I actually make a sour mix first from lemon juice, lime juice, and simple syrup, and I use that in lieu of just lime juice.
Oh, so you do
My
a
stuff a little sweeter.
homemade? Yeah, you do a homemade sour mix.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so not surprised. Yeah, no, it sounds delicious though, but I'm so not surprised. But some people substitute an orange liqueur for triple sec, which that's
yeah. There's several you can do that. You can use Grand Marnier. You can use the it's called King of Oranges, which is a French orange liqueur, and that is like so intense that sometimes I actually have to cut back on the sour because it's so orange and the flavor is that intense.
Right. So however you like your margaritas, you just make your margaritas, and instead of using sour mix, you use the guava juice. And it was fantastic. Highly recommend it. So that's a great cocktail to do, I'll say. So, and I think that you probably have a drink to talk about.
I do.
Yeah.
I have one, and it's one that is, I consider it like a winter drink, but you can do this all year round because the stuff that you use for it is available all year round. But it's a bourbon cocktail, and a lot of people like to use bourbon as when you do an old fashioned, use a little bit of the simple syrup and aromatic bitters and the usual standard cherry, I guess. This one is a little different because you actually make a simple syrup that's rosemary based. And I'm sure everybody probably listening remembers that I had posted a simple syrup recipe, and all you do is 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water, and you put that in a saucepan and bring it to boil until it's all dissolved, and that's your simple syrup. But in this case, you add a sprig of rosemary and you let it steep for about 10 minutes after it's done boiling. And for the cocktail, you're going to take 2 1/4 ounces of the bourbon, 1 tablespoon of that rosemary honey syrup, and this is the syrup here is different in that you actually take 1 cup of honey and 1 cup of water. But if you're not going to be using this honey syrup a lot, just cut that in half, like half a cup of each, and then do it that way. A lot of people prefer to use the honey because it's not a refined sugar. Some people have issues with white sugar, other people don't care, so I just wanted to put that in there.
Okay.
If you don't want to use the honey, just use regular, white sugar, just what I normally do. So you put the rosemary syrup, 1 tablespoon, 2 or 3 dashes of the Angostura bitters, and then you will take an orange peel and you'll twist it in there to release all the oils and drop it in there with it. And 1 rosemary sprig, and you serve that over ice. Well, like ice, some people like 1 block of ice. Other people do whiskey stones. Whatever makes your drink cold, that's what you use. It doesn't matter to me.
Interesting.
I'll have the recipe up. It's like I said, it's basically a take on the old fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little sweeter, and it's more aromatic because it contains the oils from that orange peel and
the rosemary. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's really, really good.
Yeah.
I remember I served this I want to say about 2 or 3 months ago, and my dad liked it. He is not one to put things in his bourbon. He thinks that's an abomination, and it's just he's very old fashioned about it. So
Well, I may make that Christmas for my little sister. My little sister is the old-fashioned queen, right? She was when they were here Thanksgiving. I had forgotten to get cherries, and I was like, I wish I'd gotten cherries so you can make me an old-fashioned. But this sounds like something that she'd really like. The honey, the rosemary, definitely, right? So I'm gonna make that for her. Christmas. That sounds really good. I love rosemary.
Me too. I cook so often with rosemary, and I mean, I love it in everything.
Right. So, and
it's even in my shampoo.
So if you're in the chat room and you remember the name of the radio show that they did on Saturday Night Live where Alec Baldwin does the sweaty balls, I just had a crazy deja vu, and I'm like, I feel like I'm on that radio show right now, right? Because I'm going, yeah, that sounds really good. Yeah. So we're going to take a break, and we will be back in just a minute with our sweaty ball recipe. Enjoy some Christmas music. We'll be right back.
Boom, 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 boom,
Santa baby, just slip a sable under the tree for me. Been an awful good girl, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa baby, a 54 convertible to light blue. I'll wait up for you, dear Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Think of all the fun I've missed. Think of all the fellas that I haven't kissed. Next year I could be just as good if you...
My son was in the Army back during Desert Storm, but even then he wanted an MBA. He looked at a dozen schools, but only one offered the online education and flexibility he needed while he was in a tent in Iraq. Grantham University. Turns out that Grantham's been delivering affordable, relevant college and advanced degrees for over 65 years. Heck, if they can deliver a quality education to a soldier in a tent overseas, think about the flexibility Grantham can offer you so you can earn your degree too. It doesn't matter how complicated or full your life is, if getting a degree is on your bucket list, you'll want to do what my son did. You'll want to call Grantham. Find out how easy it is to get started on your education so you can check that college degree off your bucket list. Call Grantham right now, 800-910-1370. That's 800-910-1370. Flexible, affordable, relevant. Call 800-910-1370.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Santa baby, I want a yacht, and really that's not a lot. Been an angel all year, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa honey, one little thing I really need, the deed to a platinum mine, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa cutie.
And we're back. And I had
Terry and I have been looking forward to having you on the show because we know you're the master of all kinds of Christmas goodies.
Clip of sweaty balls that
Tell us about them.
I was trying to play for you guys,
this time of year. Zucchini bread,
and it's not coming through. So that's unfortunate, because we were going to open up with that and it was going to be really funny. Joke spoiled. Oh well. Oh well. So Aggie, you had something else that you wanted to talk about that was kind of cool, and then we can close out with pudding shots.
Oh yeah. Well, I scroll through the explore section of Twitter looking for interesting tidbits of news and pretty much non-political stuff, because I don't have politics on this podcast. But
right,
I did come across about something really interesting. The actor Adam Driver, who most people know as Kylo Ren, but he has one of the best skulls I've ever seen on a human being. And I know that sounds weird, but I have this thing about skulls. I love it goes back to my anthropology days. But he was being interviewed by NPR, his new show, and NPR decided to play a clip singing and acting, and he walked off. And NPR was kind of like, I can't believe he just walked off, blah, 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 blah. And they were trying to make him seem like a very unsympathetic character. But the truth is, he has an issue with actually seeing himself acting.
Yeah, and you said it was an actual phobia.
Yeah, he has a phobia. I mean, it's really deeply rooted. And this is not the first time that it happens. It happened during the screening for The Force Awakens, where he was physically ill because he kept hearing himself, but he just kept running to the green room to be sick because he just couldn't deal with it. And here's NPR. NPR knew about it. They knew that he had that issue, and they still played this clip. And then they were offended that he walked off. But he was having an issue, a really bad issue with this. And he's not the only one that doesn't watch himself. I don't know if it's a phobia or not, but like I was telling you before the show, Danny Glover has never watched any of his movies, He's never seen any of the commercials he's been on. Nothing. He just doesn't do it. He doesn't want to see it. And maybe it's because he has that phobia, or maybe it's because he just feels like, oh, I wish I could have done it better, or I wish I could have done it this way, or whatever. But he never watches his own movies at all.
I can relate to it. I have a hard time listening to my podcast I had for 10 years with the Red Cross. I had a horrible time watching my interviews, and that's something that you have to do when you do media, is you have to watch and critique your interviews, right? And you really should watch them multiple. It's very hard for me. Like it didn't make me sick, and it didn't cause me physical pain. So it didn't rate. It wasn't at that level. But if I could have gotten away with not doing it, I would have never, ever done it. Like never watched a single interview that I did. There were a few that I did that I didn't really necessarily, and the more that I did it and the more that I watched them, it got a little bit better. But still, I can totally relate to it. I don't know if everybody cringes on some level. I don't think so, because I certainly worked with some people in media that I think loved to watch themselves, but they were really great at what they did. I'm not criticizing them at all, but and they were critical of themselves sometimes too. But that I don't think they minded it at all. I think that they even from just a self-educating kind of perspective, right? They really kind of loved to critique themselves. So
I have. I know I do sometimes I'll do the holiday show on the Conservative Convention podcast, and when he replays it, I just can't. I'm afraid to hear what I sound like.
Yeah, it makes me cringe sometimes. So
no, I don't.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I think that I won't go back and listen to our last red wine, because I was so silly. I know it will make me cringe, but that's the difference.
Oh no, that's kind
fun.
That was so much fun.
It was fun. That was a really good show, and Sarah was a blast to do a show with. But we were so silly, and I personally was so silly. I haven't re-listened to that one yet. May not, because it might make me cringe, because I was just so dang silly. But yeah, so I can totally relate to where he's coming from, and I can see where it might get that serious for some people, where they are so just, they have, I don't want to call it a complex, but that it could be that difficult for, I can totally understand where it might be that difficult for some people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I've taught myself. I actually went and listened to one of our podcasts, and I was like, "Ew, I sound like that."
Right.
It was all cringy.
Right. Exactly. I've always had that reaction to myself. I think most people do. Right. Like, I don't sound like that in my head. But it's it's really kind of an interesting phenomenon. But everybody sounds different recorded than they do in real life too. So, yeah, but that's really interesting. I kind of feel for the guy, right? Because he's in that line of work, and how do you not watch yourself? Strange.
Yeah. It is, and it must be very, very difficult, because he can't, like you said, some people do it so they can improve and all that stuff, but for him, he just locks within himself, and he just can't get past that. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I can't imagine if I wasn't at least able to force myself, especially when I first started doing live interviews, television interviews. If I wasn't able to critique myself, I don't know how I would have learned anything if I wasn't able to at least force myself to watch them. Because you pick up something that you're doing every time, and I mean, there are things to fix, but other than one college play, I never really did any acting, so I don't know how that even relates to doing media. So what else did you have? Will you tell the story that you were telling me during the break, unless you don't want to?
Which one?
The one about the kidnapping.
Oh yeah, it was really weird. I saw Twitter was just full of this kidnapping story out of the Bronx in New York City, where this young woman, I think she's mid-teens, like 16 or something like that. It's Carol Sanchez, and I mean they had reported this kidnapping. It was caught on film, and she and her mother were walking in the evening, and suddenly this car gets alongside and just, grabs the young girl and shoves the mom off to the side, and it takes off. And, an Amber Alert was issued, and there was such concern that I think the commissioner got involved, and it was a big deal. And the Twitter was on fire over this thing. And the investigation, actually, it turned out that she had set up the whole thing because her mom is overprotective. I was like, I had overprotective parents, and not once did I think to stage my own kidnapping.
So maybe it explains why her mom's a little overprotective if she is the kind of kid that would stage her own kidnapping. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying.
I think the fear was, from all reports, the mom had mentioned that she wanted to go back to, move to Honduras, and this young woman didn't want to go. And so she was hoping this would pan out or something. I have no idea how a kidnapping would actually help her cause, but so yeah, it's, for me, it's kind of sad because this is another hoax, and things like this tend to jade people. A lot of people were trying to find her, bring her back home, honestly very worried and concerned and actively trying to look for her. And when something like this happens, people that put themselves forward like that, trying to help, feel very jaded, feel used.
Yeah.
And then comes along an actual kidnapping, and they're like, well, what if this is a hoax? And they don't want to get involved now because, and I'm sure I'm running, the extremes in both directions, but I know that a lot of people have been jaded whenever a hoax happens.
It's a very valid point. Every hoax takes something away from a real victim, regardless of, whether it's a kidnapping or, sexual harassment or, anything. Every hoax takes something away from the real victims, and that's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, but I pulled up the video while you were talking about it and watched it, and her mom was right there. It has to be traumatizing for her mother, and that's really, really sad. That the girl is very young, and one day she's gonna really regret having done that to her mom, I imagine. So if she doesn't already, she may already, but I think the magnitude of that will sink in definitely over time as she gets older. So that's really sad on a lot of levels. Let's talk about something happier. When we did a show about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that, and we have Brad on, and you guys were talking about pudding shots, and I had never heard of a pudding shot. However, since then, I have done some research into pudding shots, And I must say, they are far more interesting than a Jell-O shot. There is the infinite number of ways to do pudding shots, and if you think about it, you can mimic just about any dessert with a pudding. Therefore, you can mimic just about any dessert with a pudding shot. So think about that for a minute. Over margaritas, my friend and I today were talking about pudding shots. She had never heard of it either.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, no, she brought up Jell-O shots. I said, oh wait, you have to hear about this. And we started talking about, she likes to play around in the kitchen. We started talking about all the different things that you could do with the pudding shot. And one of my ideas, or something that I thought of, which I haven't seen online, so it may not have been done yet, is a Boston cream pie pudding shot, which which would be,
sounds so good.
Yeah, a layer of vanilla pudding and some whipped cream, and then another layer of vanilla pudding, and then chocolate on top. And I would use, if it were me, like I would put a little dab, I would put a little thin layer of like chocolate syrup, but you know, that's just me. You could use more alcohol in chocolate pudding. You know, put some more alcohol in there. But that sounds really good. And so if you think about this, right? You really start to get like some really creative ideas about how to do pudding shots. And one of the ones I found is a cheesecake pudding shot. And it has a layer of graham cracker crumbs on the bottom of it. And I'm scrolling to try to get the recipe right now because, of course, I thought it would be toward the top, and it's not. It's at the bottom. So it's 3/4 cup of milk, 3/4 of a cup of rum chata. Have you ever heard of that rum? What do you know about it?
Oh, rum chata is divine. I make one of the best salted. It's called a salted caramel martini, and I'll save it for next time.
Okay, and so what type of rum is rum chata?
It's actually flavored with horchata, which is a rice-based drink. And it's really good. Okay. I mean, I know people that just drink it straight, but it's sweet, and it is rum-based, but it's really good.
Okay, so it's like a rum liqueur.
I have used it for baking too.
Okay, so 3/4 3.4 ounce box of cheesecake flavored instant pudding, which exists. It's a real thing. And this says Cool Whip, but you know, whipped cream of your choice. Some people like real whipped cream. And you put the graham cracker crumbs on the bottom, and you mix the rum chata and the pudding, and you chill the bowl in the refrigerator for 5 minutes. Wait, I'm sorry. You whisk together rum chata, the pudding mix, for 2 minutes. And then you put that in the refrigerator for 5 minutes. And then you take it out and you fold in 8 ounces of Cool Whip. And then you put graham cracker on the bottom of a shot glass and fill it with the cheesecake filling. Top it with a little bit of Cool Whip. And this says refrigerate for at least an hour. And there is your cheesecake pudding shot. Does that not sound delicious?
That does sound really good.
Yeah, it does. I'm glad that I chose.
I was just listening to that.
Right, and well, I'm glad that I chose the one with a drink with the liquor that you knew something about that you say is really, really good too. I believe that you could really make it with you could probably make it with any liquor. But according to Aggie, this liquor is extremely good and might be a little bit better. So I have got to try the pudding shot because I don't know. I've really gotten kind of obsessive about researching them. So the other one that I found is, and you just mentioned a salted caramel martini. I don't really know anybody that doesn't on some level love salted caramel, right? It's like one of the hip flavors right now. So,
oh my God, it is so good.
There is a salted caramel pudding shot. 1 3-ounce box of vanilla pudding, 2/3 cup of milk, 3/4 cup of vodka. Now this one has more vodka than milk. We don't usually see that. 8-ounce tub of Cool Whip, and a one half a cup, and this is maybe why not as much milk, a half a cup of caramel sauce, plus a little more for garnish, right? Mm-hmm. And a tablespoon of flaky sea salt. So this is really, stop Ruby. This sounds really good to Ruby, right? Ruby wants it. So
Ruby
right.
Sounds like she wants it.
Yeah. So again, in a large mixing bowl, combine the pudding, the milk, and vodka, and refrigerate for 5 minutes. That's to make pudding, right? And then you fold in the half a cup of the Cool Whip and caramel sauce. And clearly you can use homemade whipped cream or some real whipped cream that you buy in the store. They have it at Publix, I know. So you could certainly do that if you want to get really fancy, or you can just use Cool Whip. And so you fold in a half a cup of Cool Whip and the caramel sauce into the pudding after you've refrigerated it for 5 minutes. And you put it in the shot glass, top it with a dollop of whipped cream, and a drizzle of caramel, and serve. Now, this one doesn't say refrigerate it after the fact. I think it's probably a little bit thicker, maybe. I don't know, but you certainly could. It's not going to hurt. It's pudding. So that sounds really good. Yeah, it sounds really, really good. So maybe on a future show, I will tell you about how I tried these, and they were delicious. I might have to do them for dessert for Christmas dinner. I don't know. I have to make some non-alcoholic ones for the kid. But yeah, that's really good stuff. So I'm really glad that you and Brad let me know that there was such thing as a pudding shot.
He's like the master of the pudding shot. I mean, seriously, he's. I know that he's talked about them on some of the stuff that he's written. And on his podcast, and I've heard him do like 5 or 6 different types. Like, wow.
There's so many pudding shot recipes that, I was kind of amazed at, but I shouldn't be, right? Because something like that, people get creative and they start creating like cool things. The cheesecake one was the one I was like, oh, that is creative. That's good. And putting the graham cracker on the bottom of it.
I bet there are like Pinterest boards devoted to just pudding shot.
Oh, I bet.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure I have barely even touched the tip of the pudding shot iceberg. I doubt very seriously I have even covered the whole surface of the tip of the iceberg. So it's really fascinating stuff. So what else do you have before we get out of here, Aggie?
Oh, I think that was about it for me. I didn't have much tonight. It was pretty sketchy, as you can tell.
Right, yeah, well.
I remember that we had a show, and I got to hit y'all up this afternoon, and then, poor LL had to bail. But yeah, this was like flying by the seat of my pants.
Well, what we'll say before we get out of here is tomorrow night we have a special 2-hour Christmas special that starts at 8 o'clock with G and the conservative curmudgeon and rolls into the red wine at 9. So it'll be 2 hours of G and Orty and Polita Bunny and me and Stacy and Dawn and
I think Dawn.
Yeah, Dawn and hopefully Diane and Jody and Rick and a whole bunch of us. No clue what we're going to do, and if I did, I probably wouldn't tell you because it's probably supposed to be a surprise. But It's going to be a really fun Christmas reunion. Going to be fun to hang out with Sam, and that's going to be from 8 to 10 tomorrow. And then we'll be back here next Tuesday at 9, hopefully with LL. And you can catch me Monday with Orty and Jeff for Cyber Wars podcast.
Oh yeah, next Tuesday is Christmas Eve, so
yeah. So that one might be out of the question.
Yeah, it's iffy. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll replay our drink special, which was tonight for you next week. But you guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for being in the chat room. Tell them where else they can find you, Aggie.
At Twitter at Aggie Rican, and that's pretty much where I hang my hat nowadays. So
yeah,
and here. So every so often on some other podcasts, flying by the seat of my pants as usual.
Yes, because we're Seat of the Pants Radio, and we're so glad you joined us tonight. Thanks everybody in the chat room. Love you guys, and we're gonna play some Christmas music and get out of here. And Ruby says good night. Good night, you guys.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for being here for us.
I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I gotta go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has been
Hoping that you dropped in.
very nice.
I'll hold your hands, they're just like
My mother will start to worry.
Beautiful, what's your
My father
hurry?
will be pacing the floor.
Listen to that fireplace
So
roar.
really I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't
But
hurry.
maybe just a soda pop
Put
or
some records on while I
the
pour.
neighbors might think,
Baby, it's bad out there.
say, was that a wink?
No cabs to be had out there.
I wish I knew how
Your eyes are like starlight
to
now.
break this spell.
I'll take your hat, your hair looks
I
swell.
ought to get home for
Mind if
dinner.
I move
So
in
it's time for
closer?
me to cast you aside.
Oh, what's the sense of hurting my pride?
I really can't say.
Baby, don't hold out.
Baby, it's cold outside. I simply must go.
Baby, it's cold outside.
So thanks for the show.
But baby, it's cold outside.
The welcome has been
How lucky that you
so
dropped in.
nice and warm.
Look out the window at that
My
storm.
sister will be
Gosh, your
suspicious.
lips look
My brother
delicious.
will be there at the door.
Waves upon a tropical
My
shore.
maiden aunt's mind is
Gosh,
vicious.
your lips